Okay, what we're going to do now is show you how to age this photo. We've got a photograph of an area in Siena. We've got St. Catherine's home up here, and then in the background we've got the Duomo of Siena, Italy. We want to make this look old, so we've got a great topic or a great image to be able to make it feel realistic. Um, what I'm going to do first of all, though, is I'm going to come in, go to my layers, and on that background copy that I've made, I'm going to go ahead and put an adjustment layer over the top of it. So, in fact, let me pull that layer out here so we can see it a little bit better. I want to make an adjustment layer so that I can give it a sense that it's a little old. I'm going to go in here to Hue and Saturation, and with my saturation I'm going to decrease the saturation of everything overall so that we lose some of that color. I also want to get rid of some of the other colors in here. In this case, probably the yellows. I'm going to pull a little bit out of that. We'll kind of play around with it um, like that, so we lose some of that tonality. I just want to give a sense that overall it's got a lot less color. Now, I need to go in. I want to make this a daguerreotype, so I'm going to go into my background and get this. I'm going to go into the state capitol building. Now what I want to do here is I want to borrow this edge around here and the dust and the scratches, but I don't want this area inside the capitol or inside the middle. I want to get rid of that, and I want to get rid of all of this around the base. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this layer, and then I'll turn off my background. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my marquee tool, and I'm going to select and drag over the top part of this image to about right there. Then I'm going to copy it and paste it, then go Edit, Transform. I'm going to flip it vertically. I'll move it down to about here so we can see kind of an island that we've got built. Now, this is exactly what I want, but I want to work on both of these layers together. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to merge down so that now this is all one layer. You can see that it's all together. We've gotten rid of all that excess that we didn't really need on the base. Now I'm going to get my clone tool. I want to get rid of all of this information here. I'm going to get a textured brush somewhere over here, 46 or something like that, because I want to keep the rough texture that we've got in here. If I use a soft brush, it's going to cause it to get muddy. So I don't want it to do that. I want to make sure that I'm using a textured brush, which will give me little bits of pieces all the way around and not give a real definitive line. So now, as I clone this, I need to make sure that I'm going in like areas. For example, I don't want to clone this light area here over this dark area and vice versa. I want to try to find areas that are similar. So if this is dark right here, I'm going to come down to this area where it's relatively the same color and start cloning it like that. And I'll periodically lift up my mouse so that it will reset where it's going to clone from. And then that will come in like this. Okay, now I've got my image here. What I'm going to do now is I want to transfer this duotone, or I'm sorry, not this duotone, this daguerreotype over on top of my other photo. So I'm going to go into my channels in order to do this. I've got my channels right here, and I'm going to go ahead and load this as a selection. Now, what it's done is it's selected everything that's white and gray and things like that in there. What I want to do is actually go to Select, Inverse, so it selects the black. Now we'll copy that and go over to my image here and paste it. Now you can see it's significantly smaller. That's okay. We're going to fix that and take care of it in a moment. It's also gray. I don't want it to be a gray. Rather, I want it to be maybe one of these colors that's over here. So I'm going to go ahead and load maybe this dark green brown here. I'll lock my transparency. Now I'll get my paintbrush, and with a large brush at 100%, I'm going to come in and just paint over the top of this. And you'll see that it's going to carry over all of those scratches and all of that pattern and everything that was in there before. So that'll give me the image that I want, or sort of that daguerreotype image around it. Now, I'm going to turn off my background layer because I want to go to my background copy. And I'll go to Edit, Transform, and I'm going to scale. I'm going to reduce the size of the image in there. I don't want to scale my daguerreotype and make that larger because it's going to damage the integrity of the resolution in there. So I'm going to get my image in here, and I'll push Shift to constrain it. Now you'll notice that I've got extra space on the side. That's all right. I've just got to delete that. Now I want to get some stains over the top of this. So I'm going to go to File, Open, and I've got in here, you'll recognize this. Let's see, we'll go to Dirty Blank Paper. Open that. I'm going to select, get my marquee tool and select a big chunk of it. Copy it. I'm going to go back in here and paste it. Wow, that's a good size, not bad. Now, at this point, I want to look at this and try to see how I can get it to best fit in this area. I want to keep the stains, but not affect the background image too much. So I'll put it in here, and then I'm going to go to my layer modes, and I can go through and test different things and see. Now this is darken right here. This is multiply, which isn't as good. We're going to lose some more, a little too much image. We can go to color burn, which doesn't look bad either. So you can go to different ways of looking at it and see what happens as we put it over there. With soft light, that gives us a little bit here. I kind of like, in this case, darken feels the best to me. I like that. I'm going to keep that there, but I'll go to my masking tools. I'm going to create a layer mask by clicking here, and I'm going to come in here and paint in normal mode at 100%. I'm just going to start painting black, because black, anywhere that's painted black in here, will cause that area to disappear or to be hidden. I'll use a big brush so that will gradually fade in to it. I'll leave it just like that, and then I'm good with that stain. If I want to, I might decrease the opacity just a little bit so that it doesn't feel too strong. Okay. The last thing I'm going to do is create a shape that looks like a fold, or maybe some tears or something like that. To create a fold, I'll create a new layer, but this layer has to go over the top of everything. And then I need to get my lasso tool and just kind of draw a line through there, like that. Once that's drawn, I can go ahead to my paths, and I can create a work path. I'll give it a couple pixels of tolerance. Now, at this point, I can go ahead and select this over and over again, which will be to our advantage now when we come in here to create that overlay, or to create that sense of a scratch. It'll load it as a selection. Now, in this layer, I'll get black, or yeah, in this case, let's see. I want my fold to sort of go inside, so I'm going to make, or to go inward. So I'm going to make this here a little dark. I'll get a really low opacity, and I'm going to just come in here and paint the edge of this just a little bit. Maybe get even a bigger brush in some cases and make it a little darker, like that. Okay? Now, I'll add a little bit here as well. Now, I want to create the highlight, so I'll call this shadow, and I'm going to create a new one and call it highlight. I'll select inverse, get my white as my fill color, and now I'm going to come along here bit of a highlight. Now I'm going to hide that selection for a second. You'll see what's going on. Okay. Now that's a pretty hard edge, so what I'll do now is deselect. I'm just going to blur the edge of that just a little bit, both in the white and in the black, or in the shadow and the highlight, like that. Then I'm actually going to get my brush and make it really small, and in my highlight, and come along here and just add little bits of white, so that it'll give a sense that it's cracked a little bit, and it's okay if it's not perfect. In fact, that's what's going to help it to feel more random, is that we've got some edges here that are more broken than others. So kind of a paint. So that'll give a little bit of a and erase some of this extra space here in the highlight and say, that just seems too strong. I want it to be just a little bit softer going in here. So I'm going to erase a little bit of that shadow, a little bit of that highlight, so that it's not quite so strong. Just to break it up a little bit. And it gives a little feel of a crack or a fold in there. Now, if I want to duplicate that and add to this, what I can do is this. I'll make a group. I'm going to add the highlight and the shadow in that, and then I'm going to duplicate that group. So I have group 1 and group 2. They're both the same, but I can select this group now and bring it down a little bit and go Edit, Transform. I'm going to rotate it like that. And I'm going to put it about right here. Now the advantage to that is that I suddenly have this whole different break, or this whole different fold, that really looks almost it doesn't look the same as that, even though it's the same path, because it's being interrupted by these other things. But I'm going to go ahead and erase some of these edges here in the highlight just a little bit, and in the shadow just to soften that up a little bit, maybe as well in here, so it's not quite as strong as it was before. And that's it. When I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and get my crop tool. I'm going to cut it down like this. Hide the rest of those pictures back behind there. Go to Layer, Flatten Image, discard my hidden layers, which are fine. And now I've got, let's hide this. I've got an image that looks as though it was very, very old. So hopefully that's good enough to give you kind of an idea. Go ahead and push along with that and work on it, but use this and you can rewind it and look at things over and over and make sure that it looks good and it works for you. All right?